Hi, everyone. Welcome to Artistic Digitizer. In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the new things in the version 2. Let me get the camera on and give a proper hello here. And here we go. So I'm Ann Hine, Embroidery Software Specialist for Janome America. And today I wanted to go over some of the things that are new in the version 2. I'm not going to cover everything, but I'm going to start out and show you where you can find all the new things and some videos that go along with that. All right, and then I have some samples to show you, and then I'm gonna delve in and play with a few of those features so you can see how they work. All right, so let me go. I need to come over here, and I think I need to share my screen and bring in the software. I'm gonna go up under Help to Printable Help. And then here we go. So this is our manual. And in the manual on page 22, it's where you'll see the new features. And they're all explained here. And they each have these Learn More tabs on them. And when you click on a Learn More, it takes you further into our printable manual, and you'll see an explanation of how to use that feature, and this is the new sketch feature. So that's for me, this is the easiest way to look at the things that are new and play with them and discover them, is to go to page 22. I'm going to back up here. Let's go to 25. So there's several pages. There are also changes if you're a junior user. I think it's page 18 for junior. You'll find what's new in junior. Junior doesn't have everything that full has, but there were some changes in the junior program as well. So you can scroll through here and read about everything. The Fit to Hoop is just a wonderful option. Let me make sure I'm going to put that on my notes because I always forget to show that, and because it's an easy, fun thing. And then let me show you where, now you can also search a different way with, let me close this part here. You can also search under Help. Let me go back. There we go. I'm not sure why. Let me see if I can get this to work for me. Under Help, and you can't see this there, there's Help Topics. And here, this opens up. When this opens up like this little over here on the left side, if you click there, it gives you 3 options on how to look. And you can also view it online if you don't want it here. You can take it online, and then you can go back and forth between your software and here. So the first one, this is I think this is more the manual. So if we went to new features right here, you'll find it in there as well. So the first line here, this is the index or for the manual. Then this is a key. So if you wanted to search by a word, you'll come up with this key. And then over here, I like to use this as if I'm looking for particular things. So I would type in here, I don't know, maybe Shapes tool. And let's see what happens. And then down here, it gives me some options, and I can click on, oh, it's the digitize tool I want. It'll take me there, and then all the information will be on that page. So that's how you use the other search. And I'm just going to close this. All right, so we are back in our software. On the right-hand side down here, you'll see a little arrow. Sometimes you don't have it on your welcome page. This is where you set your defaults. So you make sure you want to do that first. And then if you want to find the videos and they don't show, you can click right here and the videos will be on this side. And then let me go here because I got to move something out of the way. You can expand those and look through the videos this way. There's some crafting projects. Here's the new features, so you can open this up. Here's on Sketch, so you can open up each of these. These are pretty short ones, 4 minutes. This one's a little longer, 6 minutes, and so forth. And then as you scroll down, there's some getting started videos, working with files, so how to select, viewing your designs, digitize tools, editing objects, lettering and working with colors, some other extra tool, the knife tool, and then some extra projects that are down here. So it takes a moment, and I would encourage everyone to come in here and take a look at what's here. These videos post to our page, and then after a certain amount of time, they bring them over here. So we do have some new videos on our page. If you scroll down, you'll find those videos. They only stay on Facebook for about 30 days, and then Facebook deletes them. It's not my option. That's what Facebook does. All right, so now let me go back to me here, and let's see if this switches. There we go. And let me get this way. Hang on. There we go. All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to go show you a few samples. I have a few things lined up to show you, and then I'll be talking about a few of these. So I'm going to put my camera on over here, and then I'm going to move over that way. So this is the new space fill. And of course, I've used a decorative stitch around here. I did talk about decorative stitches in one of my previous videos, but this is space fill. We have different types of fills, but with space fill, you can have small and larger items, and they're more varied throughout your piece. They're not like in lines or, you know, circular, rectangular, whatever. You can have more control over this part of it. All right. So here's another one I did with space fill. You can see you can go down as small, you can fill it as much as you like. Another one that we have is the floral fill. Now we have a floral vine, but this is a floral fill. It has less vine. You really only have one start to your vine, which you can move around your item. And you can have, again, small pieces up to large. You can change your leaf as well. You can bring in your own flower as well. So that would be under floral vine. And then under paint stitch, now this is an older paint stitch that I did. Under paint stitch, we can now create these shapes. Okay, in the past, we had to, uh, create it, take it out, bring it back in as a Jeff, cut it with a knife, and then you had to go through and delete everything out here, which was tedious. Now we can reshape, which is really fun. I like that we can do that. And then, of course, this is paint stitch. Let's see, I have it upside down. And I'll just back up a little bit so you can see. This is a large paint stitch, and I think I just did a video on paint stitch and how I split this to make this great large one. Okay, just to show you how paint stitch works and what it looks like. I'm going to show you a picture of my most recent one, which is the one I call Fractured World, and that one I did the sketch on. I don't have it in my possession. It is traveling right now with Janome. It's going to all the Comic-Cons that we attend over the year. So if you go to one of those, you might see it hanging in our booth. I don't know if I'll eventually get it back, but that's okay. I can just stitch another one, so it's not really a problem. So let me show you some pictures of that. And I got to get to the right thing here. Put this up so you can see better. And then here's my finished piece, and I have it zoomed in a bit. This is just my couch out here. This is paint stitch and cross stitch and sketch all together. In here, I've also left parts of it open so you can see the gray background in here. I think when I do it again, I think I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to open these areas up more so there's more showing through. And then I might lighten up the cross stitch by making larger crosses so that some of the back will show through a little bit more. So I have cross stitch, in this area, over in this area, and down in here. So you can combine both of those together, both of those features. And then this is sketch in the center. I also have one more that you can see the sketch up a little closer. Let me see, is it this one? Close that one. Oh, there it is. Okay. So here, this is what it's stitching. It's starting to stitch the paint stitch part. When I did this part here, I pulled this out as a sketch. And then when I stitched it first in my lineup, and I laid down a piece of white fabric, you can see right here, because I didn't want the gray showing through. I wanted it to be more of white. And then I let it stitch so I made sort of an applique. And I didn't go ahead and do an outline stitch or anything because the paint stitch will come up real close to that. And we can see that when I go back to this picture here. See, the paint stitch came up right close to it, and you can adjust your paint stitch to be right on the edge, so it really looks more seamless this way. And I do want a little organic look to it, so I don't mind if there's little spots showing through. That's fine with me. That's a kind of rough, I wanted a little bit rough looking. So that's how you can maneuver with paint stitch. So let me close all of these and this one. Oh, and there it is stitching on my machine. So you can see this main piece was 130,000 stitches, 208 minutes it would take for that. It does take long to stitch these out, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. All right, so let me get out of here and switch my camera over. There we go. All right, everyone. So let's go ahead. I'm going to jump into the software and play a little bit. I'm going to start out with some one of the basic things first, and then we'll go from there. So let me get my software up, and we'll go from there. Let's see. I think there's something back here. If I go to software, there we are. I'm going to close my videos. Let me close. I have an extra screen on here I've got to get rid of. I'm going to close my videos with the X. There's my program. Now I'm going to jump in first and do create new. So here's my new piece. Our properties are all over here on this side, and which they were before. And I'm just going to create a shape like this. And you can see when I created the shape, my properties came up over here. My shape has both, you can look on the left side here in the color box, the used colors, has a fill and an outline. So here's my fill information, and these are the constraints on a fill, and this is my outline information. So if I wanted to change my fill, I could click on step, and it opens up all the different fills. And if I wanted net fill, there it goes. I would have net fill. And then here are all the options for working with net fill. Here's my run line on the outside. If I want to change it to satin serial, I click there. Here's my width. I can use the little slider, or I can just click on the line and make it bigger this way. Now I'm working in inches, but for things like this, I like to use a metric. So I usually highlight there, and I'll put in, maybe I want my satin stitch around there to be 3.0 mm. And then I hit return, and it changed it to 3.0, and then it converts it for me over here to inches. So you can work that way. For stitch length and stitch width, I like to do that because I'm very familiar with that with our machines. You know, when you're sewing on your machine, on the sewing side, we have our CM17 is a 9mm width. I kind of know visually what that looks like. And so that helps me there. But if you're working on a project and you're in metric, and I say it needs to be a 2-inch square, you can put those numbers in your boxes as 2.0 IN, and it'll convert it to your metric for you. Or if you're in inches, or if I'm in inches and you're in metric, you can, like this here, you can put in, let's see, if I'm in inches and you're in metric, or if you're in, if I give a metric, you can just enter the metric in here if you're in inches. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and you can be totally in inches or totally in metric if you like, the whole way, and work the way you like. And I've done some earlier videos on how to set up your preferences. So if you search for those, you'll find them. All right, so that's how you do that. And then I want to talk a little bit about the colors. So I have an item right here, and we're going to be using, the color is not over here anymore. We're going to be using the color box over here. So if I have my piece there, I can come up under auto, and it separates my two pieces. So if I want to select just the outline and change the outline color, I have it selected. I can left click right here, and it opens my color box, and I can look at the swatches and come through here and say, yeah, I would like the outline to be this color. I could input, if I knew the color name for my marathon thread, I could. If I'm using a different thread, I can pick it here. All right, and then when you're doing your preferences, you can tailor this to be a shorter list, or even put your favorites at the top. So I have Janome Marathon my glide thread and isocord right up here, so that those are the ones if I want to switch between them. If I wanted to use Janome for this, I could just click on Janome. It changed it to purple. Maybe I want this green, and now it'll be that bright green, and it'll give me this on my machine. When I hover here, you'll see the color come up. Now it only changed the green to a Janome if I selected my red part and I came over here. It's still in Marathon. So I can have a mix of colors. So maybe I like the Janome green and I like a Marathon red. I can do it that way. Or maybe I like this pink, so I can switch it to pink. Okay. If you come over here, well, if your outline is selected and you go here, it changes the outline as well. If both of them are selected like this, let me see, and you pick a color from here, it changes everything to that color, and it took away my outline for just almost all of my outline. It took away my outline. That's something new in here. So if you want to keep your outline, or if you want to have an outline, if I checked here like we used to, we'd have an outline or a fill. Remember that? If I wanted both at this point, if I deleted it, I would come up here to convert auto border and just say to the outside, satin serial, okay, and I have my satin serial. Then I would select it. I could come here, click on the color square, and make it a different color, like that. Oops, why is it doing that? Let me see here. There we go. You have to go to the, when it's two colors, when it's all one color, you have to come over here to the pencil and the pen on that part of it, so you can change your colors that way. It's a little different. I know it's going to take everybody a little while to get used to. When you have, when you have this selected and you click here or here to change the color, you have the swatches or the wheel. You can move this around if you like to do it that way, and move this up and down if you like to do it that way. Sometimes I will, if I'm doing something quick, oh, I just need a green, I'll just click there and I'll get the green. It doesn't really matter which one I'm doing. Sometimes I want the swatches because there's a particular shade that I want, so I'll go to the swatches for that. All right, so that's our new colors and our new properties over here. And I only have the fill selected, so it's only showing me the fill. I only have the outline selected. It's only going to show me outline. If I do shift and click, it shows me both. All right, and sometimes this is closed or open, and you still have the control up here with your, let's open this up here, with your colors and your shapes on there. All right, so that's all of that. I'm going to close this. I don't need to save it. All right, so we're going to jump in and we're going to do the paint stitch with the sketch first. Well, paint stitch first over here. So I'm going to bring in this flower, and I'm going to make it with those cropping points on the outside. I'm just going to bring it in just a little bit. I don't need all of that change to paint stitch. So here's my paint stitch. You can see sketches there. So there's paint stitch, and I'm going to select OK. And it pops in. It is now a paint stitch. Once I get it here and I select it and I decide, you know what, I think I want to see what sketch looks like, I can click on in my properties and select sketch. And then it'll render it as a sketch. And I can come in here. The first thing I always do is I make my colors 4 because it makes it 4 different grays, from black into grays. Now, depending on your color palette, you may have a lot of grays, so you could put a bigger number. It just means, you know, here I have 4 colors of gray in here. And then from here, I can manipulate this any way I like. Same with the paint stitch. So let me go back. Well, I can show you here. If I wanted to eliminate some of this, I can go to my edit nodes and I can bring these nodes in like this. I can add a node here. Let's add a node. And then I can drag this up a little bit. And see, I get the arrows now. So these are shaping arrows. So I can move these out. till I get it close to the outside edge of my piece. I could bring this one in as well and pull that up, and then pull this one out a little bit, maybe this way. And then this one I might need to pull up a little bit. There you go. So you kind of can play around that, and you can see on the outside how it's bringing that in. Okay. So if you did not want to, if you can also do it a different way, but you can manipulate this way. So if you can create a shape yourself, you can do it this way. I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to delete this image, and I'm going to go to my welcome because I already have this converted to paint stitch. I'm just going to open it. There we go. And it's a little dark here today. I might change my brightness here, and actually my contrast. Let's change that. So for me, I just like to pull on the sliders. There we go. And to get that. So here is my person in there. If I want to take that out, what I can do is I can come over here to my Digitize Outline Shape tool. Now I have the Context tool, which is the default of the drawing tools. You can change that in your preferences. And to make my lines, I will use a left click for gives me a curve node. And if I hold shift down and left click, I get a corner node. So I can kind of come around here, putting my nodes in like this. As I come around, whoops, backspace. If you go out too far, I can put a straight one there. And then down here, I want to go across. I want to save the paint stitch that's in between here so you can see the individual legs. But I'm not going to close my piece. I'm going to just say end shape. Now, when I do that, I get, you can see my shape over here. And if I do, did I get something? Oh, no, that works okay. I can still go in here and I can go to my edit nodes and I can pull this out a little bit before I do any cutting of this at all. But what I can do now is select both of these and right click, and I could do knife, and it breaks it into these three pieces. So this is the part between the legs. So I can take this if I want this to stitch first and put it up there. Now the outline on here is the actual outline of my sketch in the center. And if I want to fix this little part here, I want to select my paint stitch because I want to render in, I want to bring the paint stitch to make sure it stays out there like that. If I wanted to, the same thing up here. If I have a spot where, let's see if I have a spot, maybe along here, some of my sketch is now into the paint stitch area. I'm going to click on my sketch, and you can kind of see where the paint stitch is in your item there. I can come in here and pull this out to be more on the outline of the sketch. Same thing in between the legs here. Maybe I want, more of this. Oh, I want that to be over here. And you can see that it left some blocks there. So let me do undo for a minute. Undo again. There we go. I'm going to go back to this one. And then I'm going to have to, there we go. And then in here, I can move this so that it'll keep those paint stitches. Well, maybe not this one. There we go. So yeah, you can play around with it that way as well. So that's a good way. That's one way to do it. And then once it's here, I can click on the piece. Let's hit select though. And then I can go to paint stitch and I could go to sketch. And now my sketch is here. I can change my colors to 4. I can play with the brightness and the contrast. Maybe I want more contrast like that. And I just kind of move it up too much till I get it where I like it. Same thing with brightness. I can change the brightness. I do like to use the sketch brush because it adds some more, like, I want to say sketchiness. I don't know if that's more lines in there. So it looks like it's hand drawn. And as you play with different parts of this, you'll see sections come and go. And you're like, okay, I like that. I don't like that. So you have to play around a little bit with that. So that's how I created my sketch on the inside. And then I just sent this to my machine. I think I grouped these two together so they would be in there together. Oops. Yeah, let's do this and group. So they'll be together or combine. And then to get those parts for the cross stitch, I just came around in here. Let me do my edit nodes again. I just came around in here. Oh, not, yeah. I used my outline shape tool, sorry. And then I just came in here and I selected the parts I wanted like this. And then, and shape, go up here. Wait a minute, I can do this and that. I think I did it wrong in that respect. Let me see. I have my piece. I'm going to select it, and then I can come over here. As long as I have a piece, I can go to step and then make it cross. There's my cross stitch. So create your shape, select it over here, and then now you can adjust it in the cross stitch thing. If I want my cell size to be bigger, that's where I said I could leave more space in there. Let me get it really big. So you'll be able to see more inside there of my cross stitch. All right, so that's how you can add pieces. You can also do a clipping region. So let me show you that really quick. I'm going to close this and don't save it because I want to show you something different with the clipping region. I have this design here, and I'm going to bring this in as a paint stitch. Okay, and I'm going to rotate my hoop here. I'm going to go up here and rotate this 90 degrees. There we go. And I'm going to select my item, and then I'm also going to use the machine icon and fit to hoop. It's going to adjust it up for me. There we go. And I could make it a little bit bigger if I want to. Before, our paint stitch would not do this. It was set in a size. So now we can make this larger or smaller. If I go into my text and I'm going to type, I think this is the one I want. Let's see. Yep. I'm going to type love in there. I'm going to select it. I'm going to move it more towards the middle. And then I'm just going to make it as big as this is, almost like that. Now you can see in the properties, it's leaving the holes here. But if I move this, they'll go away. So if you want to have it cut out, if you select both and you right click, right down here, it says add as clipping region. So let's see what that does. That'll clip away the background and leave me just the letters. I think this is pretty cool. And if I wanted to, I could put outlines around these if I needed to. So let's do, well, I'm not going to break apart just yet. Let's hang on to that. Let's do undo. And if I wanted to just leave the cutouts, this is where I would do my right click shaping and trim. And then I have to do a little bit of work because this O, it has these, this is where I really need to do break apart because these letters are connected by jump stitches. So I would select this, I could right click, break apart. There we go. And select the O and do break apart. And then you can work through it that way to get just the background cut out on there. But I really do like the letter part. I'm going to go back the other way so you can see that. Let's see if we did. All right, we'll use it as a clipping region. You want to select all of it. I did a I did a left click and drag to get all of it, use add as clipping region, and then I have my letters. And I can now break these apart and select each one. I can go to convert, auto border. If I want a satin stitch around there, I can just click on satin stitch, and now they have a nice border on there. Okay, so this is the thing with paint. Now, any of these, if I like them, I could change them. I could do cross stitch on that one. On this one, I could do sketch. So I really like the fact that I don't have to recreate it every time. I can get one of it I can get it converted. And sometimes I'll convert the whole thing and save it as a converted piece. And then I can, as a draw file, and then I could bring it in and I could use it any way I like. I don't have to keep recreating it. Once I get my graphic the way I like it looks in Paint Stitch with the colors and all of that, I can save it that way as a draw file. And I would go up to File, Save. I would do my Save As, which you guys can't see. And it has a default of .draw. And you can see that right down here is draw. I would always save first as a draw. Once I'm done with my work, I may change it to a embroidery file from there. I keep a lot of my stuff as draw files because I basically always come back and use the software to send it to the machine. So I don't need to convert everything to a JEF file. But if you want to work away from the software, if you save as a JEF file after you have your draw files, you can just copy paste those to your USB sticks and not open the software. But if you want to wirelessly transfer, you need to be in the software for that. All right, so that is our paint stitch, cross stitch, and sketch. Let's move quickly over to, I'm going to close this, our space fill. And let's see, I'm going to go back in here to open. And here you can create a shape. I'm just going to create my circle shape. There we go. And I could bring in a flower. Let me see if I saved a little flower. Or maybe, let's see. Or maybe I want to fill it with, oh, I had something just before. Let me see where I put that under my browser. Let's see. I had this. There we go. And I should have saved that in there a different way, but I'm just going to copy paste it over here. There we go. There's my little safety pin. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Now, if I want to add that in there, I'm going to select both. I'm going to right click, and then I see right here, I see my array, and you'll see create fill from shapes. So I'm going to click on that, and it filled it in our old way with using the different fills. So over here in my properties for fill, I'm going to use the drop down. These are all the different ways that you can fill that. Those are all the usual ways. But down here we have space fill and floral fill. So space fill will do that. And then up here, I can adjust the item rotation like that. I can do rotation this way, and it moves different ones. See how some of them are moving and some of them aren't. The scale, I could make it bigger or smaller. Spacing, I can have more space, which will leave less in there. And maybe then I want my scale to be really large since I have more room or less room. There we go. So you have all of that. And then when you're ready to, I would delete this piece out. Let's go to manual to see if it sorts it for me. Then I would come over here and I would separate to objects, and I would group my colors so that it would stitch all of I really want the gray to stitch first and then the pink at the end. So you can separate to objects. You can come over here and right click, select by color. Oh, let's ungroup this first. Ungroup. There we go. And if we come here, I can do select by color. All of those can go to the top like that. There we go. So it'll do all of that, and then this color and then the outline if I want to have an outline on there. There we go. This is a great way to create different textures on your fabric, or even to create fabric, back, like insets for jackets, things for cuffs. I mean, so many ways you can use this. I mean, I used it just for a design on a bag. So you can draw your design in here and apply that. Now to do the, I did ungroup this and separate to, once you separate it, all of these pieces are individual. So once you do separate to objects, make sure before you separate, everything's where you want it, because this is where, if you want this one to move, or maybe I don't want that one in the center because I'm going to put a baby name in here, you can now come in and delete your parts. Okay, let's close that. I don't want to save it. I'm okay with that. If I'm going to do the floral one, let me go back to my designs and see if I have, I don't think so. Under Redbook, do I have a flower? Let me see if I can take that guy, and I'm going to copy him and go to a new page and paste it here. I'm going to make my shape like that. I'm actually going to change the, whoops, undo that, because my shape tool is still on. Always go to select. I'm going to change this color here. I want to do, I think I want to ungroup that for a minute. I want to change the outside of this by clicking here, edit color, and then I'm just going to pick maybe this more red color. There we go. So it's going to change it based on my circle's going to, because it's a solid, it's going to go in there. So I can select both. I'm going to right click on it. I see my array, create floral, and it's going to go here. Let me, no, that's not the one I want. Hang on a minute. I have to think about this for a minute. Let me do this first. Let me do it as space fill. And it's giving me create floral because this is a Jeff file. So I'm just going to make a little shape up here. And I think I can make that one yellow. There we go. All right, so if I take that shape and this one, and I do array, and I want to do fill from shapes, and then I'm going to come over here and do my floral fill, then you can see my flower is in here. And you have your one, and I could turn those green, but what I want to show you is here's all your controls, of course. You also have a control over here under stitch flow. You can control where this vine is going to be, where the start of the vine is going to be. So you can move it around and it will give you more or less of those shapes. So that's how you can use your floral vine, and you could bring in a flower, that you created and bring it in here. Okay, or you can convert a graphic flower and bring it in here and put it in your piece as well. So that's how that works. All right, so we're going to go back. Let me look at my little notes here. The other thing, let me close this. A new thing that we have is the start and end points. So I'm actually going to make some squares on here. All right, let me just move these around so they're on here. There we go. So to do the start and end points when you have your shapes on here, you need to get that random over in here. So let me go back because I want to show you in the help. Oh, I got to go in the other window. Hang on one second. Let me go to Mac screen and help so you can see this. When you go into your printable help, there's a nice, let's see, it's down in here. There's the color doc box and new help system. Maybe it's on 24. Here, there's random. Show hide object. This is really fun too. Show hide objects when you're editing. You can hide objects so that as you edit other parts, they're not in the way. You don't have to see them. Random stitches. Where did it go? You can apply a trim now on intersecting things. Well, maybe it's down here. Maybe it's on 25. I wanted to show you because you can change your, I don't know why I can't find it right now. Add fixed stitches, crosshair. Oh, here we go. Trim, no, trim and stop. Density, fit to hoop. Oh, here we go. This is what I want to show you. So you can change your start and end points. And on the face of your, on the main page of your software, there's a video on this. So watch that video for this. A lot of people want to do the start and end point changing, and this is phenomenal that we have this in here. So go ahead and do it that way. I think that would be easier because I want to show you a couple other things before we have to go today, because I think I'm kind of far up on my, let's close this window. All right, what I want to show you is I'm going to delete my outside. Oh no, I'm going to delete my inside. Let's go back to that and delete this one. There we go. We have something called random. So when you have a satin line here, if I do satin serial, and let's make it a little bit wider. I'm going to do it 4.0 mm. Right down here, we have random, and I'm going to zoom in close because I love random. You can come in here and change your satin to have these rough edges like that. Now you can have it symmetric. You can have it on the A side or the B side, or symmetric, which we had it in the beginning, or symmetric, or you can do both in here. So you can change your this in here. I love this. And you can layer these on top of each other, so you can make like a multicolor, some flames on there. You could make these wider and layer something on it that's shorter. So that's our random. That's new, and it's sometimes you don't see it until you pick a satin serial, and you'll find it right there. I showed you fit to hoop, and vertical text is one of the things we have. And also, you can look this up in your videos on smooth nodes. When you're converting a graphic and you have so many nodes in there, you can select them under edit nodes, select them. You'll get a new icon up here for smooth nodes, so you can reduce the number of nodes. So for text now, we do have vertical text. So once you open up your text tool, you can come over here, and right here is vertical. So I can type in, oh, wait a minute, I didn't get it. There we go, vertical, there we go. And now you have your vertical text. We also have a new spacing tool. So you can change the space between your letters. I'm gonna, if I bring them really close, like that, you can see them moving just a little bit. You can bring them closer, and they're equally close, so that makes them very nice to work with that way. So that's under text for spacing, and also for vertical. So if I went over here to horizontal, they're really close here. If I want to go the other direction, I'm just using my mouse wheel as I scroll through here. I hover my mouse wheel in here, and it will move for me. And then I'm going to delete this little part under here because it's, there we go. All right, so let me go back to the camera and let's see what we have here. There we go. There we go. All right, so I don't want to go, the reason that the start and end points, we're going to work on a little project for that. But I want you to go and read that and in the manual, and also look at the video, because I think you'll understand it much better when you look at the video, and then play with it again. Do the shapes like they show in the video, and then practice doing it. It's very interesting because as you move your start and end points, it will change the way that stitch looks, the fill stitch looks. So that's something to think about as you're moving your start and end points around. So I challenge you to take a look at that. I know a lot of people want that. And adding trims and stops, read up on that as well. We'll come back and work on those things. I just didn't want to give you too many things. I know we're pretty long today anyways. So put your comments below. I'll come back and answer them. And I hope to see you again in my studio. Thank you for joining me today. It's been lovely. And we'll be back another time to show you more things in our software. Bye for now.